been a resource person for several programs for IAS officers, CBI officers, state and central government employees, lawyers, teachers, and students. Today, we are privileged to have an opportunity to listen to him this morning. On behalf of all gathered here, I welcome you, sir, to this literary morning of induction program. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Ms. Mishra. I begin with the question that is asked over and over in today's times. Can you hear me? Yes, I can see people nodding. So I'm going to take that as affirmation that I can be heard. I thank you for the introduction, and thank you to the Karnataka University for giving me a chance to address students. I believe this is a privilege because I get to talk to the generation that is going to make our tomorrow. And that generation is all of you, friends. So let me begin with a quote that Abraham Lincoln said about 200 years ago, approximately, where he said that if you wish to be a lawyer, forget about where you are, forget about the people that are around you, pick up and find a book, read it. It will make you a lawyer faster than any other way. Now, today, this is only partially true because while knowledge is available in books, while it is possible for all of us to read and find the information that we seek at our fingertips by just Googling pretty much everything, the reality is that a lot of difference is made by those that surround you. A lot of difference is made by the place that you are in. And all of you have chosen to join this university, the Karnataka University. And I'm sure all of you are going to enjoy the journey that you have for the next 5 years. Now, this journey is distinct and different from anything that you've experienced so far. And I'll tell you why. So all of you have just finished school, and some of you probably did junior college. And all of this time, the onus was either on your parents or on your teachers or on your school to ensure that you succeeded. And your role was just to study hard and probably clear those exams that you wish to clear. Now you have chosen law. Law is a profession, and in my opinion, there are only two professions. There is the medical profession and the legal profession. Everything else is only an occupation and not a profession. And the reason I say this and why it is different is because the onus now, friends, has shifted on you. The onus is on you, and you can make or break what you become. You may have various reasons for having chosen law. I'm sure most of you thought that, you like, at least me, when I chose law, I love to argue. And, as soon as you start arguing at home, aapko to vakeel banna hai begins. And that put a thought in your head. And then you start thinking, hey, maybe I'd be good at this. Maybe this is what I can do. And you start to think about law. So maybe many of you thought of this, but maybe many of you are much more thoughtful in your choices than I am. And you actually gave it a lot of consideration and said, I have 10 options. Of these 10 options, I'm going to choose law. For whatever reason you chose it, friends, you are going to excel at it only if this becomes your drive and passion. And when I say that, I mean law itself must become your drive and passion. Again, I go back to a quote which is more than 150 years old, and you'll read it, I'm sure, when you're studying some of your philosophy of law subjects. And this is that law is a jealous mistress. And the reason people have said this is because once you get into this profession of law, if you distract yourself with anything else, your profession doesn't like it too much. So it takes a lot of commitment. It takes 100% dedication. And this dedication starts from your first day of college. And how does it start? I mean, obviously you're in college. Obviously you want to have fun, and that's a good thing. College is not meant to only learn and read your books, but it's to get a holistic education. And that holistic education comes from being with the people you're with. It also comes from enjoying the environment that you're in and studying in that environment. So all of these are critical parts. In fact, law school, when I went to law school taught me more about life than it did about anything else. And that played a critical role, and it has played a critical role in my career. Now, when you look at law, and for whatever reason you chose it, the most common, I would say, thought process is that law is going to lead you to the courts. Law is going to lead you to advocacy. And I know you've had a couple of eminent speakers come and talk to you about various options. You've had a judge, you've had someone very well versed with international commercial arbitration talk to you. So you do know that there are other options as well. But I'm going to highlight through this talk today. And again, you have to suffer me for 1 hour, which I thank you all in advance for, but hopefully you'll have something to gain at the end of this hour. So I'm going to give you a few options of thought that you can use to kind of guide yourselves into where you want to be 5 years from now. And I begin that thought process with one statement that I want you all to remember. And that is that no decision is permanent. And the reason I say this is that you will all change what you want to do as you go through your career, as you go through college, and that is not a wrong or a bad thing. Good, in fact, it is good to experience, especially in law, the multifaceted options that are available to you. And that can only be experienced if you change. Without change, you may be stuck with only one thing that you do throughout your career, and that may not be something that's right for you. But what you need to understand is no matter what you've decided to do, that is not the end. And you can change that decision, you can focus on something new and proceed. Personally, when I started in 2007, when I'm thinking most of you were probably in single digits as far as your age goes, there was a concept that I thought of, which was very novel to India. There were about 4 or 5 companies doing it, and this was legal process outsourcing. I don't know if you've heard about this. I don't even know if you know that this is a possible career option for you once you graduate, right? So I thought that this is something that we could do. We have a system of law called common law. I'm sure you're aware of common law. And any country that follows common law follows certain rules, which are common to all systems that follow common law. These rules are one, precedent, law of precedent that all of you know, that if a court of superior jurisdiction decides a matter, courts lower to it will follow it. And second is the principles of natural justice. So these two are common no matter which common law country you talk about. So this being the case, I thought that why shouldn't a company in India be able to do legal work for companies abroad? And this led me to become an entrepreneur. It led me to start an LPO, a legal process outsourcing company. And we serviced firms in the US and the UK, where we did what was called paralegal and attorney work for them in India. It's a challenge because you have to learn a completely new legal system. You have to learn laws that operate in a jurisdiction like the United States and UK, where law is not reactive. One thing about Indian law is Indian law is quite reactive. Only after a situation has happened, after we encounter a circumstance that law doesn't have a solution for, the parliament tends to legislate on it. But these other jurisdictions are not reactive, they are proactive. And they tend to make law even before a situation has actually happened. So you'll understand that it was a challenge to go into these jurisdictions, but for all of you, this is a career option that you can look at right from day one. You have access to online platforms, you have access to tools. While you're studying Indian law, you're not limited to learning only Indian law. Nothing prevents you from picking up a law in a completely foreign jurisdiction and comparing it to Indian law. It's a fantastic way to learn how it will possibly evolve in India in the future, right? And another concept that you have to understand is that when you're studying law, you have to differentiate, I'm sure this will be another subject that you look at, that is law and social transformation. Does law transform society or does society transform law? So this is another big question you will ask yourselves in your formative years in law school. And the answers to all these questions can lead you in different directions when you decide what you want to do as a career, right? So with this basic, little bit of introduction that I've given you, I also want to talk about some things to do with the legal profession, right? Those of you that want to go and litigate, those of you that want to go to court, uh, the biggest problem we see today when people come, especially as freshers to court, is the lack of prep. And this is something you're going to see as a problem if you enter a courtroom without knowing your entire case thoroughly. And the only way to do this, again, is to learn. So no matter which side of the profession you choose to go to, no matter what stream you ultimately decide to take, prep is the most important tool that equips a lawyer. And prep involves reading not just the law, it also involves reading the facts. It also involves understanding nuances of the case that is before you, be it your own case or be it anyone else's case, right? You need to understand this. And when you start your first year of law school, you're going to get research assignments. And the reason I brought this up is to link it to this. So when you're doing your research assignments, while it is simple and easy to find all your answers on Google, to copy your classmates' assignment and change it a little bit, what will really hold you in good stead is if you're able to understand the facts, understand the law, and apply it from day one. If you start doing this, when you're out of law school, you're thoroughly equipped to break down cases. Most lawyers, even today, after many years of practice, find it a big challenge when some client walks in and just gives them a set of facts. They find it a challenge to break that down and say, hey, these are the 10 different laws that I can use to benefit my client. They restrict themselves, they wear blinders like a horse, and they say, oh, since this involves, let's say, a crime, the only solution is under IPC. So that is not the approach a good lawyer takes. So when I began, I think when Ms. Mishra introduced me, she said I began with the UNODC, which is the United Nations Office on Drug and Crime. So we prepared a handbook for lawyers who are into enforcement, that's public prosecutors, to teach them as to the number of laws they could apply in a given situation, which was human trafficking. So when they were encountered with a case of human trafficking, we found that they could use to their benefit close to 80 different legislations to ensure that the culprits were punished under one or the other. So this kind of thought process is important for all of you to look at something holistically. And this will hold you, like I said, in good stead once you graduate out of law. Now, coming to a few other fundamental aspects that you all need to understand, and from a professional angle, what it is that we do. We are right now in a situation that none of us have been in before. When you all were in school, I'm sure you didn't imagine that your induction would be happening on. None of us did. None of us imagined that this is the situation we would ever be in. So you have to understand the world is volatile, right? The world changes so quickly that most of us are unaware, and we need time to adapt and adopt. So there is no difference between this scenario and the scenario of law either. So law also is volatile. Law also can change suddenly. But being in the position that y'all are today, y'all are very well equipped to be ready. So you can have this whole thought process of future thinking. In 5 years from now, when I graduate, what is it or which part of law is going to be the most attractive? Which part of law is it that is going to be most sought after, with very few people who are going to be skilled at it? Right? So if you inculcate this thought process well, it's going to keep you prepared for the future. I want to give you a few examples. So I'm also partner with a firm called BCP Associates, and that firm is into something called audits, right? We do labor and employment audits. While most of you may not understand what this means, some of you may. We look at an industry, let's say a factory, let's say a huge IT company. So some of our clients are clients like, I don't know if you all know, you've heard of Goldman Sachs, you've heard of Toyota, that manufactures the car. So these are the kind of clients that we have, GE across India, really large multinational clients. These are our clients and they come to us to have their companies audited, right? So this whole audit process involves finding whether these companies are compliant with the laws as they are today, especially the labor and employment laws. And when we do this, it is very simple for us to, take a pile of documents, go through them, and tell the company whether there is compliance or not. But we thought that this is not the right approach because things are changing. Companies want things done much faster. They don't want reliance on physical data. So we took this a step further and we digitized the entire process. We used things like artificial intelligence. We used machine learning in this realm of compliance to find, so the tool or the system can do 90% of the work for us. And the lawyers truly do what a lawyer should do, which is interpret the law. Look at the law, look at the facts and say, hey, in this situation, when this law applies, as a company, you're compliant or not. So this took us a cut above everyone else in the market. And these companies today come running to us because they understand what we give them is true value that they can only get from a law firm. So this kind of innovative thought is something that all of you should inculcate from the start of your education, from when you begin. There are so many realms, like I said, so you might want to look at law in artificial intelligence. It is such a challenging and interesting topic. Who do you hold accountable for the failure of artificial intelligence? Is there a law that can govern a machine? Can the law cover? Uh, I don't know how many of you understand the concept of artificial intelligence fully, but it's a situation where I can get a machine to think on my behalf, right? The more number of possibilities, the more number of situations I put before the machine, the better it becomes at giving me solutions. So they're now starting to use artificial intelligence in areas, obviously areas like engineering, but also areas like medicine. So if I were to give a computer a set of symptoms, the computer can tell me what process of medication needs to be followed. What is the prognosis? What is the diagnosis? And what is the medication that ought to be followed? Now, if I'm going to be dependent on a computer to do this kind of analogy and the computer fails and my patient dies, who do I hold accountable? Do I hold the programmer accountable? Because he's going to say, I programmed it and left it. The machine learned thereafter on its own. Do I hold the doctor who's using it accountable? He's going to say, I put complete faith in my system. So these kinds of questions are what y'all are going to be faced with in 5 to 10 years from now. And law is going to be the only solution to all these problems. Law is going to be the only thing that can fix these kind of solutions. So start thinking ahead, start using this futuristic thought process to decide what it is that is going to be relevant in 10 years from now. Another good example I want to give you is that of space law. Have you all heard of space law? I'm sure a majority of you have, some of you may not have, but there is law that governs space, right? And you might think, wow, there's law that governs space. Maybe it came in the last 5 years, maybe it came in the last 10 years. Well, law of space began to evolve in the 60s. In 1960, people thought it was relevant to make law that governed space, a place where at that point in time, all of 10 people had been. Of a billion plus people that inhabited the world at that point in time, 10 people had been to an area and they decided to make law about it. So this is how law can facilitate change. So isn't it extremely thrilling to see that people thought it relevant to have law to govern an area when no one had even fathomed that they would go. And when, 10 people had gone, they said, oh my God, this is an area we need to have law for. And today we have a million plus reasons that this law holds us in good stead. From launching of a satellite to where a satellite should be placed, to what we call space debris, which is waste in space, to going to the moon, to companies and countries claiming exclusive territory on planets like Venus. This is things that we are seeing today. So when you become lawyers and when you all are practicing law, maybe 15 years from today, you might find that space law is one of the most relevant areas to be in, right? So this kind of a thought process, you guys, all of you need to inculcate. It's going to keep you all in good stead. If you'll keep thinking about the future, you keep envisioning what it is that is going to be relevant 10 to 15 years from now. Do keep this in mind when you decide what it is you do. Another thing that as students you will see and you will find that your passion for subjects will keep changing. So when you're in your first year, you might have a fantastic teacher, and that teacher may make you love a particular subject. And when you come to your fourth year, you might find a teacher who's better than your first year teacher, and you might say, wow, now this is the subject that I love. All of us had a fascination for intellectual property rights because we had a fantastic teacher in my law school. And then suddenly we found that law and medicine was taught by another fantastic or fabulous teacher. And we said, you know what, forget about intellectual rights. We all like law and medicine. So this is going to keep changing. And it's a good thing. That means your passion is diverse. But understand that in the end, you will end up practicing what you believe is your passion. So do make a full attempt. Doesn't matter whether your teacher brings that passion in you or not. It doesn't even matter if at that time you find that that subject really bores you. The important thing is 5 years from then, that may be the only subject that you're practicing. To give you a very good example, I hated land laws. Land laws governs the transfer, not transfer of property, which is a good law, but land law governs things like rent, leasing, and it's very territorial, everything is technical. I said, this is the most boring subject that I can ever study. Unfortunately, when I began practicing law, about 50 to 60% of my cases were all land laws. And then I cursed myself for not having paid enough attention in class, not having looked at this subject as something that could win me, bread and butter in the future. So bear it in mind. I'm telling you from experience that you never know what subject you're going to end up practicing. Even if you make choices, you may say, no, I'm going to be a criminal lawyer and that's all I'm going to practice. I will not do anything else. But you'll have a very good client who relies on you for his criminal cases, who will come and say, you know what, I have this one case that deals with land laws and I don't want to give it to any other lawyer. Can you please take care of it? And you have no choice at that time because you don't want to lose your client. You know that this has to be handled and you say, yes, unfortunately, I will take it over. So these are situations that you will get put in. So please do pay attention. As a lawyer, you need to be a jack of all. You may be master of one. People say jack of all, master of none, but lawyers can be jack of all and master of one. So that is what you need to become. You need to be a jack of all laws. You need to understand law as it is. At the same time, you may choose to specialize in one law. So you may become a tax lawyer par excellence, but you still need to know what happens in a civil court. So that is where all of you need to look at yourselves being 5 years from now. All right. Few other, I'm talking nonstop. I usually don't like monologues. I don't like the sound of my voice for so long. But since this task has been given to me, I'm going to continue to talk a little bit. So do bear with me. I have a few other examples that I want to give you on law and process and how it is that as lawyers, you may see yourselves in completely different situations. So I brought up AI, right? Artificial intelligence. So in the US, there is a lot of research going on replacing the lawyer. They're saying law is nothing but a set of rules, right? And it's a set of facts. So you can actually build scientific rules around this set of facts and law. And if you're able to match these correctly, you don't need a lawyer. I can give a set of facts, I can give a set of laws, and I can tell the machine to learn and give me answers. So this may be our future. If this is our future, where do we go? What do we do as lawyers? Do we say, hey, we're obsolete. The system has taken over. So is that a real possibility? So when lawyers in the US, and obviously we're threatened by this, right? As soon as you say that, oh my God, a machine's going to take over your job, we're all threatened by it. But the truth is, this can never really happen. And the reason is law is subjective. And as long as it is subjective, as long as it has this element of doubt, no computer can learn that the same set of facts can be treated two different ways. The system is going to refuse to accept it because science says you have to have a fixed formula. The same formula cannot yield two different results. So that is where systems are going to have a challenge. And as lawyers, as long as we're able to learn, like I said, the law and be thorough at what we learn, there is no challenge that's ever going to be put forth. But we'll have the privilege of governing how those systems operate through law. So we're always going to be a step ahead. Do prepare for this. Do prepare for the fact that a majority of the tasks today, which are mundane, which are repetitive, which most lawyers do for a majority of their career, may be taken over by a system. People join firms. There are large firms that only operate, for example, in mergers and acquisitions. They have one line of practice, and that practice funds the whole firm. It has 100-odd lawyers employed in each location. A majority of that process is repetitive and can be done by a system in the future. What cannot be done by the system is putting in that legal thought that needs to go in, which all of you can prepare yourselves for and bring that edge in when required. There are also so many new domains that you all have as choices. When we did law, we knew about three things. We knew that you could either practice in civil law, you could become a criminal lawyer, or you could do intellectual property rights, because that was that was a happening thing about 20 years ago. But with your case, all of you have so many choices. I believe that you're spoiled for choice. There are so many laws that you can choose. You can choose to do sports law. You can choose to do media law, things that we didn't even have an imagination good enough to bring in. We never thought that India would be a jurisdiction where sports contracts can be the exclusive practice of a firm. And today we have firms that just specialize in IPL contracts, for example. Forget about other sports. They just manage contracts of players for IPL. They manage their sponsorship contracts, they manage their playing contracts, they manage how the money comes in, how the money goes out. So there is no dearth of choice for you as students. And again, to reiterate, this unfortunately rests on your shoulders. Teachers can show you the way, they can give you guidance, but ultimately it rests on your shoulders to excel as lawyers. I'm sure many of you are going to do this. Many of you are going to excel, and you all are going to find that your passion lies in a certain area and you're going to take it from there. Very important aspect, another one that I want to bring in, is as lawyers, we have one privilege that very few others have. By virtue of our education itself, we have the power to become employers. We don't have to be employees. None of us needs to look for a job. All of us have the power to become employers ourselves. All of us have the power to graduate and from day one, not bother about whether you get a job or not, but be more concerned about being a job creator myself. So each and every one of you, when you graduate law, is given that power. And I think a majority of us should use it. If you look at most great politicians in the world, in any country, you take India, you take the US, majority of them are lawyers. And there is a reason for this. The schooling that you have in law, the kind of environment you're surrounded with, the kind of profession you need to practice gives you a special set of skills. It empowers you in a special way to be a leader. And each one of you has that power and that potential. And I'm going to see, I'm sure, a lot of great talent come out of this university, a lot of you coming out and becoming leaders of this country in the future, but nothing comes for free. So I'm sure more speakers than myself have reiterated the fact that there is no substitute for hard work. But I'm going to make a little change to that and say that hard work today has to be coupled with smart work as well. So just hard work alone won't cut it. You have to be smart about how you work. You have to be smart about what you work with. And this is what is going to give all of you an edge. I've given you some insight into what we do as a firm, as an LPO. So um, I have the privilege of working 3 different jobs, if you will, or rather being a job creator on 2 fronts and being an employee on another. I'm a partner with a firm that does those audits that I was speaking about. I'm also a partner and a consultant with an LPO that I started, which was already told to you, is now taken over by an American entity. So I get to see the technology side of law in the US and how it operates and how it's evolving. I also get to see a completely different scenario in India because I'm in labor and employment law, a law which had not changed for over 70 years, which is now undergoing a huge revamp. And for those of you that are reading your newspapers, we have laws that are completely being consolidated, changed, implemented in the labor front today. So it's also a very exciting area of law to be in. Most people don't look at it as a very interesting area, but you have to understand that we are a country that looks for employment and we're a country of industries. So there is a lot of employment, and where there is employment is the employment law. So it's a huge area to be in. It's also a very lucrative area to be in today. So that's also some food for thought for all of you. And by virtue of me being in these different areas, and I also teach at the National Law School in the Masters of Business Law program, where I teach corporate law, and I do take a few papers for the graduate students as well in contracts, especially LPO contracts. So by being able to do all of these different things, I do see different facets. And all of you can also, I mean, by being a lawyer, that's one great advantage you have. You don't have to restrict yourself to doing one thing. And after 15 years of doing what I'm doing, I still enjoy the fact that I do multiple things. I'm able to do them, and I'm happy in doing them because it does give me exposure to multiple areas of law. Now, all of you as lawyers, like I said, have this opportunity. You can be the future of this country by virtue of keeping your minds open to such futuristic thought. Online platforms, online tools that you will be equipped with in your university will be one of your biggest assets, be it SCC Online, be it Manupatra, be it Westlaw, any of these tools that you have Hein Online. Knowledge is your greatest weapon. So acquire as much of it as you can. None of it, trust me, none of the knowledge you acquire during these 5 years is ever going to be a waste. You might feel that it is redundant to study things like law and language or political science and wonder why you're doing it. But in truth, all of it is going to hold you in good stead once you graduate. I know I have another 25 minutes scheduled to me, but I think I am at a loss for words. I've finished everything that I wanted to get across, and I hope all of you have benefited from what I've had to say. If there's anything else that you'd specifically like me to talk about in relation to what I do, in relation to what you all can do and things like that, I'd be happy to. Please do let me know.
So, my dear students, do you have any questions for the chief guest? Do you wanted to know something? You can put them in the chat box. I'll read it from the chat box. Yes, Saurabh.
Like I said, I don't enjoy a monologue, so it would be nice if you all can ask me questions. I see Professor Uma Mahesh, so maybe Professor, you would want to put some questions to me.
No, sir. We are in the audience row today. We're not going to ask you any questions.
Thank you. I see one question which says, any books you can recommend? There are a ton of books. I don't know where to start, but let me start with the book Justice. So that's the first book I feel you should read to understand what law is, to understand the basis of law. you should look at that book called Justice, and it's a good book to begin your journey on law with. Law, many topics are tough, I see. It's only as tough as you want it to be. I don't believe that anything is unsurmountable. The language of law is difficult, and there's a reason for it. If we were to talk in plain language in law, you'd have 100 different possibilities of interpretation. So the language of law becomes difficult. Some of it becomes mundane. Some of it becomes a little tough cookie to chew, because it's really dealing with a lot of technicality. But no law is tough per se. You might find some technical laws. For example, one of the favorite laws that I love to hate is anything to do with telecom regulation, because it is so full of technicality that by the time I'm through half of it, I'm bored. But once you start applying law, you will find that it's actually very interesting. So I don't believe law is tough, or most law is easy. Try and apply it to facts. It will give you a better way of understanding it and learning it as well. Any other questions? Someone says, can you tell us more about paralegal? This is from Vidita Shetty. Yes, a paralegal is a profession that's in the US, a qualified profession. We don't have such a profession in India, but it's someone who helps a lawyer. So they're not qualified in law, they're not attorneys. In the US, you have to be an attorney who has taken a bar exam. We have a bar exam in India that covers the entire country. In the US, you have a bar exam for every jurisdiction. So let's say, for example, you're in Gujarat, you have a bar exam only for Gujarat. That's how it works in the US. So if you have not taken the bar exam and you have not graduated in law, you can still do a course that can help you learn the fundamentals of law. And then you can help a lawyer to do everything that he does except appear in court or counsel clients. So apart from these two things, you're allowed to do everything else. You can draft, you can file pleadings, complaints, all of that. You can take care of the entire law firm's work except actually appearing in court. So that's what a paralegal does. There are a lot of questions now coming in. I would like to request Ms. Mishra, if you could take them one by one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So it's a question by Shruti. So what are areas or practice which can go redundant with the coming of AI under legal studies in future?
I think that's a great question. With the coming of AI, what is going to become redundant is anything that doesn't need application of mind. So it will not be a specific area of law or one area of practice, but within each area of practice, whatever doesn't need application of mind is what is going to become redundant. For example, even in litigation, you might find that simple applications that can be summarily decided, that is without actually having a hearing, is going to become redundant. A judge is simply going to have the system decide if the facts are enough to give a summary judgment, and a summary judgment may be passed. In non-litigation areas, anything that has to do with advisory, which is basically based on forms that can be pre-coded, that can be pre-filled, advisory based on all of that is going to become redundant as lawyers again. So the core or the basic fact is, if you don't need to apply your mind as a lawyer, that is what is going to become redundant.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sir, one question is by Asim. Sir, looking at the time now as industries are growing and less manual work is carried out, will labor and employment law be successful to practice in future?
Again, a good question. With automation, the number of employees may reduce, but remember, in India, the cost of automation and the cost of manpower, the cost of automation always, unfortunately, outweighs the cost of manpower as it stands today. So I will always prefer in a country like India or China to use manpower than to automate. With that, employment law, at least for the next, I would say 30 to 40 years, you don't have to look at a scenario where employment law will become redundant. Also, it is not limited to industries. Please keep in mind high technology companies as well. Even if you're looking at high-end technology companies, take your Microsoft, IBM, the majority of their manpower is in countries like India. This is where they have their highest employment. So that is never going to be redundant. practicing in that area is always going to be lucrative.
Thank you, sir. So there's a question by Yugal. What are the benefits of getting a job in corporate sector over personal office?
Money. One word is money. The corporate sector offers you more money, but also, I mean, not to trivialize it, it's important to have some corporate exposure because you understand how a corporate works. A corporate works very systematically, unlike, most small businesses or, your own personal office. You'll have a lot to learn from working with a corporate because you learn how corporate structure works and how they streamline things. So getting that exposure and then coming back to start your own office is the best formula that you can use.
Thank you, sir. So there's a question by Amish Shah. Sir, what is the effective way to read and remember law?
I think this varies for each student. Each person has a different system for studying. If you have a photographic memory, so I like to believe at least that I have a photographic memory. So I love to write. And when I write and make points, those points stick in my head forever. That's the way I used to love to read it. And I used to love to build stories because again, something that keeps you interested and engaged is a story. So if I have to remember 25 case laws for one section, I would have a story around those 25 case laws. And that would help me remember the name of the case, the facts of the case, and the ratio by building a story. Because a story is always easier to remember than just dry facts. This is how I would do it, but that's not necessarily a formula that will work for you. But writing, I think overall, your professors will also agree that writing does help you remember faster than just reading.
That's true. Thank you, sir. So can you tell us how important are internships for law students, and ideally which year should they start interning with firms?
I know students who are interning. So we have a girl who's just in her 11th standard who's interning with us now. So to answer your question, it's never too early. You start right away. If you can get an internship today, you do it. And the reason you do internships right from the get-go is because it gives you exposure at no risk. You don't have to work 10 hours a day. You don't have to slog. But you have enough and more time to understand how all these different operations work. And that is why it's never too late to start. Start right now. And please make your internships diverse unless you already know what you're going to do. If you already know what you're going to do, stick to those internships. If you don't, make them diverse so you understand different practices, different areas of law before you make a choice.
Thank you, sir. So is it necessary to do LLM after LLB? So what is your view on it? By Ananya.
Yeah, so again, it's a personal choice. An LLM gives you a few added advantages. You're qualified to teach. You have a super specialization. It's like doing post-graduation after you've done your MBBS. So you start to specialize in certain laws when you do your LLM. My honest advice is you should take a break to work, which means finish your law, work for a few years, and then do an LLM. The reason is you get better exposure and you know what the industry wants, and you'll choose an LLM that actually benefits you from an industrial standpoint than just doing a postgrad for the sake of doing a postgrad.
Thank you, sir. So there's a question by Kinjal. What are some of the key tips you would like to share to the upcoming generation of lawyers surrounding academics, internships, and about your beliefs regarding the legal profession?
Wow, I think this is a philosophical question now. Majority of what I said during my session are my tips.
I guess, yeah.
Prep is one thing I cannot stress on enough. I think the biggest failing I have seen in the last 5 to 8 years is the failure for lawyers at any level. It doesn't matter if it's corporate litigation, whatever, to prepare before they actually speak. I think it's a very, very key aspect. It shouldn't be trivialized because your impression is lost if you end up not saying what it is that you really want to say.
Thank you, sir. Sir, if we observe the current crime rate, then what are your thoughts that whether the criminal laws are not strict or they are not imposed properly and how to tackle it by Om Mishra?
Again, Om, my personal belief is that law has nothing to do with the criminality of a nation. It has much more to do with mindset. It has much more to do with how society is positioned. You can make laws as strict as you want, you can implement them as well as you want, and your crime rate may never go down. The fear alone is not sufficient to drive crime away. So it is a social transformation that's needed. Obviously, Professor Uma Mahesh is in a much better position to talk about crime. So.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So many unskilled labor are not doing job. So have a law in Supreme Court to suit that we are not getting job and are not up to wages rate by Rishabh Chaudhary.
I'm presuming this is a statement which says that people are not willing to work and then they complain that they don't have. Yeah, see, the thing is, if I were to ask any of you to, let's say, do a job that you are absolutely not interested in or that you absolutely have no belief in, would you want to do it just because you're earning? The same question gets asked in any scenario. So just because there's a job doesn't mean that, and there are people who want a job, doesn't mean that that equation fits, right? It's a question of having the right job for the right people. Quality of labor, dignity of labor, all of that does matter. So overall scenario, do we have enough jobs? We might. Do we have the right people for those enough jobs? That's a question that needs to be answered in any given time.
Okay, thank you, sir. So every area of law is important in the world, but in coming years, which would prevail more and would be very important in every part of the world? By Jenny Trivedi.
I think, again, this is a great question. So we're moving away from the physical world to a virtual world. I think that's where we're going. To be very optimistic, I'd like to think that this COVID crisis will end in 6 months or 8 months. But the truth of the matter is the world is never going to be the same again. And this is not the only pandemic that we are going to see during our lifetimes either. So with that in mind, anything that governs the virtual space, be it social media, be it laws that govern cyber, technology, AI, all of this is what is going to be the most relevant in the future. Anything that governs a virtual space, in my mind, be it entertainment, whatever it is, this is what is going to be most relevant. Those are my thoughts.
Thank you, sir. There are many questions. So Nidhi is asking, sir, as there are not so many lawyers pursuing marine law, though we have abundance of big and regular cases regarding that, do you think trying in that space deeply is a good choice?
So absolutely. Marine law is big in countries where there is a lot of marine arbitration. For example, if you look at Singapore, it's a big jurisdiction for maritime law. And pursuing maritime law is a very good option as well, provided you have the exposure to the right kind of firms, which I know places like Mumbai, Cochin have a good number of firms that practice in maritime law. So that's a good idea. You should look at that as a possibility.
Thank you, sir. Sir, is mindset and social values play a key role in elevating crimes. So does psychology and sociology can be great areas of study for criminal law aspirants? By Chintan Jain.
Absolutely. I completely concur. Criminal psychology, criminal behavior is a very good area to get into. Forensics is a fantastic area to get into for those interested in criminal law.
Thank you, sir. One more question. Requesting you to share the teach.
Every answer.
So requesting you to share the experience of teaching at MBL, of teaching MBL at NLSIU.
Oh, that's a fantastic experience because most people that pursue MBL are A, non-lawyers, and B, professionals with a minimum of 5 to 10 years of experience. So it's a fantastic experience because I get to teach people who are in the industry. And most of the challenges that I'm faced with during that class and session are very, very practical. So I enjoy teaching that session, but well, personally, I enjoy teaching, I guess. So that session makes it even more challenging because of the kind of students. My student average age in an MBL classroom is about 45, I'd say. So I have students who are about 75 to 80 years old. I also have students who are in their 20s. So it's a very diverse audience and it's quite interesting.
That's great, sir.
I want to
Now there's a...
I have one thing that I'd like to say about national law schools, and this might be controversial.
Yes, sir.
But I'm sure a lot of us tried, most of you at least, tried to get into a law school and may have given CLAT. I don't know how many of you did, but I see a lot of disappointment in students who don't actually get in. So I want to tell you something that the registrar of National Law School told me when I did not get into law school. So when I wrote the National Law School entrance exam, there was no CLAT and all of that. And I was ranked 100 and something, 103, 104. And there were only, for general merit, there were only about 53, 54 seats up for grab. So I was extremely disappointed. I happened to know the registrar. So I went and met him and I spoke to him. And he said, what do you want to be when you graduate law? What do you want to do? So I said, I want to be a lawyer. So he said, well, if you want to be a lawyer, it doesn't matter where you do law from. You have to do the law, you have to learn the law. It doesn't matter if you come to a national law school or go to any other college. Learning law is up to you. It's not up to us. And that stuck with me throughout. And so that is something that all of you also, I believe, can take inspiration from. There's definitely no reason to be dejected or disappointed that you didn't get into a law school. Honestly, what makes a law school is the effort that the students put in. And you can put in that effort no matter where you are.
Thank you so much, sir, for motivating words. There's a question by Dia. Sir, a big question being raised these days is that if the judiciary is actually working the way it was meant to, if not, what can be done by lawyers to keep a check on it and try to fulfill the primary objective of law?
Yeah, the concept of justice itself is not a fixed concept. So it's not something that can so easily be answered. Is the judiciary working the way it should be? I think it is. Do we have a huge pendency of cases? We do. But you have to look at how short-staffed the judiciary is. How many courts do we have that still don't have judges in them? I think today we are at a ratio of almost 30%. So 30% of vacancies in the judiciary is a huge vacancy that we have. So if that is filled, if that is streamlined, and obviously see as lawyers, one thing you learn when you come into the profession is that time makes money for you. So we had a professor who used to teach us law. He was a practicing lawyer and he was quite senior. He was in his 70s. And one day he was telling us a story. So his son came to him and said, Dad, his son was a lawyer too. This case that you've been fighting for the last 30 years, I wrapped it up. I won. And his father actually hit him on the head and said, you're a fool, you're an idiot. So he said, what happened? 30 years you've been trying to win the case. I won it for you in one day. Instead of thanking me and congratulating me, you're whacking me on the head. So his father said, you fool, that was the case that paid for your education and our lives for the last 30 years and you've gone and ruined it. So, lawyers take pleasure in delaying cases also because that's a strategy sometimes. So it's a system, and the way the system works, unfortunately, is what it is today. But if you were to look at it holistically, I think India does have a good system. It's a question of equipping the judiciary with what it needs to be more efficient as well.
Thank you, sir. This is one question by Ananya. Sir, in other countries, the law is very systematic related to all crimes. So in some cases, the person guilty does not get the punishment and it gets delayed. So for instant punishment, what should be done?
See, instant punishment gives rise to a huge possibility of injustice. We believe in innocent until proven guilty. So if you're going to go with that presumption of innocence until proven guilty, you cannot have instant justice. And I don't think as a civilized society, instant justice is something we should ever aspire for. Does justice system work well in other countries? It does. Now, if I were to take the example of the US, the biggest reason is that judges are elected. So when I have an elected judge sitting there, he's responsible to the people of that particular county. and he will never get re-elected again if he does not serve justice. So that becomes something that plays a huge part.
Okay, thank you, sir. So the last question, sir, as we know, the pandemic had changed many situations around the world and condition between the borders around the world. Can international arbitration be a good area of expertise in coming years?
Always will be. I think international arbitration will always remain a fantastic area to specialize in. And India has a dearth of lawyers who are specialized in international arbitration. So it's a good area to look at. A lot of nuances, especially in Asia, Southeast Asia. Singapore is the most preferred jurisdiction for arbitration. So learning the Singapore rules, looking at the Arbitration Act in Singapore will be a good idea for anyone who's looking to aspire towards international commercial arbitration.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sir, in law subject in 3 year, which stream should I take so that in word most trending like criminal law, business law by Rishabh Chaudhary,
I'm
which is
presuming
the
he's,
most trending?
yeah, see, in 3 years from now, you'll have to revisit what is most trending. I'm not so sure. You can look at space law, you can look at, I don't know what specializations you have, but it's going to be something you can evaluate over the period of your first 3 years.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. So we are honored by your presence on this occasion, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your enlightening words. On behalf of United World School of Law, I extend a hearty vote of thanks to our chief guest, Mr. Aditya Kamath, who spared time from his busiest schedule to grace this occasion. Today, we had an opportunity to hear your thoughts, and this will surely be going to encourage us, sir, in our future events. Your thoughts have enlightened our minds and have shown a new path. We are deeply motivated by your speech, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for such a mesmerizing speech.
My pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity, and I wish you all the best, and I look forward to interacting with you in the future as well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I take immense pleasure in introducing Colonel Surojit Bose, who is Director, United World School of Design. Sir has completed his MBA in HR and Marketing from IP University, Delhi. Sir, your presence is a reflection of the importance that is attached to the commitment of KU to quality augmentation of student education. We seek to be inspired by your gracious presence, sir. I'm glad to invite Colonel Surojit Bose to grace the audience.
Good morning, all my young friends. I'm the Director Academics at the United World Institute of Design, the fastest growing design school in India. It's both a privilege as well as a pleasure always to interact with young minds who are going to be the chartbusters, charting a new path for themselves. And we know how important law, arbitration, and all these areas which are now getting inflicted by the huge rise in tech. And we are so much overawed with AI. And when we talk in design terms, in design education, I would wish you all to come and spend a day with us and see how design education happens. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of areas where combinations can happen. Now, any institution, a university, which is young, old, or growing, are as per the rules of the UGC. And if anyone sees the new education policy, transdisciplinarity, multidisciplinarity in the area of higher education is about time it came, and it's about time it was practiced. What best is your head, Professor Uma, teaching a class which has compositions of law students, design students, liberal arts students. But that's left for another day. We have heard of various hat theories, so I'll put on the different hat as the chair of KU Global. I thought it should have been named KU Go Global. So our aim is that the design world, the tech world, law, all these worlds are slowly globally interconnected. What happens in any one country has ramifications in the other. So I'll take you through, I hope I've got sharing rights. I'll take you through a presentation on KU Global. So while we have a number of aims of KU Global, majorly is to put you across through partnerships, through various instruments, activities, to explore the wide world outside your campus, outside your city, outside the country. So KU Global aims at exploring, connecting, and bringing an international flavor to the classroom, as also through student trips. So what do we do? Before the presentation, I would like to give you a small short film on KU Global. Can the screen be shared? Yeah. Ashwin, do I have the screening rights? Can everyone see this?
Yes, sir, we can see that.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'll leave you at the end with a video, but now let's go through the KU Global. The aim of KU Global is learning beyond boundaries, is to set up international collaborative arrangements which allows students and which helps students and supports students. So scholarships and getting a good bargain, whoever want to do, let's say in your case, LLM in any UK university. Of course, as the previous speaker spoke, gave us that after some work, which allows you to pursue further studies, because there's a common law between UK and India, and certain other videos where you'll get to know what are the aims, objectives of KU Global. So it is to develop the next generation of global citizens, look at what are the various challenges, new possibilities, and solutions for the future. So we have a number of collaborative partners where we are engaged in setting up what is called the collaborative partnerships, MOUs, intents of purpose, wherein a student can go for summer schools, they can go for study trips, and certain things which are true to your vocation and the School of Law is to have projects, research, certain areas which are so globally connected. So these are some of the international partners. Being the first, so these are institutions, universities across the Asia Pacific region, in Europe, Italy, UK. And UK is one of our focuses for moving it further. And many have law as part of their big university as we do have law here. So I'll run it down from top to bottom. Swinburne is in Melbourne. At the School of Design, we have also developed a program called the Global Design Program, where a student like you joining and spending the first year, which is the foundation year, goes to Australia, goes to Swinburne for 13 weeks in next year between September and December 2021. The year after, they go to Italy, that's at Milan. And the final year, they go to Nottingham Trent University in the UK. So a global design program gives and their course descriptors, the curriculum. So what happens in KU Global is that you do a mapping of the curriculum. You look at the credit values, you look at various other aspects, and what best that you are curating a global program with the help of 3 different universities. So that's just a case in point. So there's De Montfort, which is in Leicester in UK. Then there is the University of Bournemouth, which is on the coast. University of Creative Arts, it's in Farnham and near Canterbury. Coventry University is known for many of its programs. Then we have the Nottingham Trent. Sapienza is in Rome. University of Art is in Berlin and 2 other cities of Germany. KISD, that's Technical Arts Science, that's in Cologne in Germany. University of Northampton with Modatech, where I think my cursor is pointing, I don't know if you can see it or not. We are 10 students of United World Institute of Design and 10 students of Instituto Modatech, which is near the, if everyone would know, once a part of Wonder of the World, Pisa. So we know the Leaning Tower of Pisa. We have collaborated, and our dresses and our dress forms are being shown in the Milan Design Week. Of course, it has gone digital this time. Gloucestershire, Naba, Domus, these are all in Italy, and Polymoda is in Florence. We also have gone to Australia, where UTS, we are looking at Wolverhampton, Goldsmiths. UCLan is another great university. We have Manchester Metropolitan in Manchester. BTK is in Berlin, quite next to the Mall of Berlin. Curtin is in Perth, and Curtin is the 2nd best university in the world for mining and such. So how do we do this is that we visit these people, we set up instruments of collaborations, and that adds up to a student's knowledge and exposure to international norms, systems. So this is open. So few institutes we have already collaborated for allowing law students, and we'll have someone from the Nottingham Law School sometimes speaking to you today to tell you how and what all is possible under the norms. And I'm sure in talks when your dean advisors meet with you after this induction, they'll be able to give you certain areas which you can go to. You can also there can be study trips where various colleges can combine together. There are summer schools, there are scholarships. So at the UID, we have developed a scholarship pattern that the students who are meritorious, they get some sort of scholarships for summer schools. And there are many such initiatives which the school will be talking about with you. We also help, and we have an office, which helps you in progressing to your master's abroad. Now, this is quite technical. It's not that easy. You have to have a certain scores. You have to have proficiency on a particular language. You have to try 6 months before. And then we work out with that institute so that you get a much better deal than any agent which can give you. And more so, they know your curriculum, they know what is required. So all those talks happen, and this is one of the main aims, is how the KU Global Office puts our students after the undergraduate into a master's abroad. So we also have them coming to campus this year, and maybe for some time of the next, it'll be digital, but they come, they do master classes, they give you training in how to write your statement of purpose. There are many things which happen before you go. So much of you will not be having to go to agents and such like things. Of course, it's too early, but by the end of your fourth term, many of you would like to get to institutions across the world, and KU Global Office is supposed to help you there. At UID, we are also part of 3-4 very important international associations. What helps is that your curriculum gets enriched, faculty get to send their papers, publish, conferences. So there's a whole lot of connectivity which gets developed at these. So Cumulus is one of them. You'd be happy to know that Kanavati University is now a proud member of the Association of Commonwealth Universities. 3 things are very important for any institution. One is accreditation and credentials. So you're part of AIU, you are a UGC compliant university, and you're also a member of the Association of Commonwealth Universities, which has a charter. It's nearly a royal charter, which helps you in building a better world for higher education. They get nominated to give some amount of publications for their monthly magazine. So we are working with Association of Commonwealth University on a number of forms. The UID is also a member of the World Design Organization, which looks at industrial design. It used to be called industrial design earlier. One of the things which, of course, UID has done, and I'm sure law will follow, is that we hold these international conferences. And so does law, and so does business, and so does others. And a lot of thought leaders come, like your first speaker is nearly a thought leader in his area. And we had this in the 13th, 14th, or the 14th, 15th, and 16th of January, just before the lockdown. And it was a great place to generate a lot of new ideas, look at the future of education. And I'm so very happy to the part which I joined, such great questions being asked and such brilliant minds joining the United World School of Law. It's a great comment and great for your advisor and Dr. Malay and all the faculty and staff at United World School of Law. IFTI is special because they only allow 44 members into them. It's one of the topmost fashion technology associations of the world. Under the GTEB, few law students, few students of business, they went and they visited over a week. They went to Cambridge, they went to Coventry, they went to Nottingham Trent, and few other universities under a very, very subsidized cost of spending a week in UK. We also had GTP, Professor Karen from the Royal College of Art and someone from King's College coming and addressing us at the auditorium. Student trips. Now this is a great connect to establishing lifelong networks and lifelong partnerships. Looking at various international competitions, blogs, discussions. This digital world has opened out as many avenues for us than they were before. So study trips, field trips are a great way of connecting. This is at the University of Creative Arts. This is where our students went to the Singapore Design Week. I'm sure there would be some similar equivalent platforms where you would like to go. Thank you very much. I'll leave you with a video. Let me see if I can show it to you. That by and large will and give you a flavor. And of course, once you join, once you get connected, There are 2 or 3 staff members that will be told to you after induction. You can talk to them, get to know about the wonderful platform of KU Global. So the 3 main pillars of KU, one is accreditation credentials. Other is a great infrastructure. I think we are blessed to have a great, nearly 40-acre creative campus. The third is the international collaboration. So these are the 3 main pillars where institutions moves. Let me just try and share one video, and that would be a sort of a goodbye to you before we connect again. Yeah, just give me one moment to see how to do that. Can you see the screen, Nishtha?
Yes, sir. We can see the screen. Yes, sir.
Okay. I hope it doesn't lag because sometimes it lags. I'll just show this video, which is a video made for the KU Global, but it has a little bit of a flavor of the design school.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, friends. That's what we have for today. I hope you liked, and we'll have a lot of conversations in trying to put you to the best universities across the world. That's the promise of KU Global. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. On behalf of UWSL, I would like to thank Colonel Surojit Bose from the bottom of my heart, who blessed us with their presence and took out valuable time out of his busy schedule. Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening the students about KU international partnerships and the global opportunities. Now I would like to request Professor Pranay Prakash to enlighten the students.
Yes, am I audible and visible to everyone? Yes, Nishtha ma'am.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're audible and visible.
Okay, okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, sir. We can see the screens.
Just give me 1 minute, ma'am. Okay, so yes. Good morning, everyone. Let me introduce myself. I am Pranay Prakash. I am the assistant professor and your placement coordinator. Before starting the thing which I have to explain about the placement, let me take this opportunity to welcome you all to the Karnavati University. So, like you see on the screen, we have the Career Service Department in Karnavati University, which work under the system of epitome, right? The basically epitome means the highest level of example for anything. So in Karnavati University, we not only prefer for the placement thing, but we also go for this monitoring session, training session, trips, and for the higher studies who go on to for the higher studies. Okay, so it's an overall development for the student. So basically, this internship and placement thing is taken by a same whole department, which is known as CSD, Career Service Department, which belongs to the university. And every constituent college of our university has its own career service department. Like we have CSD Law. So in the CSD Law, we train, we educate, we get seminars, we get vivas, we get sessions for not only which is related with the placement, but with the anything which is related with the upliftment of your career. Like if anyone want to pursue their career in LLM, right? So we also do these things through our CSD department. So this is the basic thing, or this is the basic work which CSD department will do in our law. So if we talk about the 2019 and 20, you can see very well see on the screen that these are our top recruiters list from the year 2019 and 20, and the lists are going on. So it is not stopped now. We are already on the verge of completion of the placement system for the 2019-20 session, but it is not stopped. So you can see very well that we have All India Football Federation, we have Syntex, we have DTM Social, Trivedi, Adani, Otsuki Pharmaceutical, Lex Proctors, and many more. Like so, we have this the power companies, the refrigerator Whirlpool, and you can say that the half of the Fortune 500 companies is our recruiter or the team member for 2019-20 recruitment, right? So the how it works now, I will tell how it works. Like in the starting of the 10th semester, we take the list, or we take the thing that who wants to do what. Like if you talk about 2019-20 session, then we have 50% student who are wants to pursue their career in law firm, who wants to interested in litigation. So we go for litigation. Like 10% of the students were interested in NGO, so we go for NGOs. So these are the few things. Now the overall placement, like this is an average placement I am keeping to you. Like excuse me, Adani Jugglers, we have this 6 lakh per annum placement, and number of student has been 2. So these are you can say these are the average thing which I'm sharing to you everyone. right? We have many more, and we have many more continuing, and we have many more counting. So you can say, if you get the crux out of this, then you can say that 6 or 5 lakh per annum is our average package for this BBLLB students. So don't worry, study hard. We are here to help you in every path of your career. And let's talk about the internship. So if you want to see the internship thing, then you can very well see that we have the ONGC, we have the Khetan and Partners, we have Amarchand Mangaldas, we have our Department of Justice, Department of Labor, Sachivalaya in Government of Gujarat, Government of India, CCI, Competition Commission of India. So it is like a wholesome package from everywhere. Okay? It's a wholesome package from everything and everywhere which is accumulated in our Karnavati University. So it's like everything which you want, we try and we must pursue to give you all. Like, it's a dynamic thing. Placement is a dynamic thing. We believe that placement is a dynamic thing. It's not about some job, right? We don't believe that it's a job. In our epitome system, which is the highest example of anything, we believe in full satisfaction of any student, any person who wants to pursue their career, right? So if you want to also set up some business, then we have also training and opening session for the business also, right? So in our system, we have everything, and like every student, if you want to pursue their career in anything, we are here to help you. So it's a short crux about our this career service department, which is leading by me and by our Malay sir in our department, which is Dean in charge, and Jaideep Banerjee sir in the university as a whole. So so that's all from my side for this placement thing. The last thing which I want to tell you in short, that please study and keep calm and believe in the placement department. Thank you. We are here to help you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening the students. Thank you so much. Now we have a short clip to watch.
Leaders, the doers, the visionaries, the change makers, biggest political brains, think tanks, strategists, policy makers come together on one platform to share their views and opinions on subjects related to the youth.
मोदी जी ने ये भी कहा कि यूथ पार्लियामेंट हर एक जिले में होने चाहिए। बस इसी स्वप्न को साकार करने का ये यूथ पार्लियामेंट ऑफ इंडिया एक विनम्र प्रयास है।
Their stories.
सोने की चिड़िया कहलाने वाला भारत, दुनिया भर से पढ़ने पढ़ाने वाले यहाँ आते थे। वो भारत अगर फिर से बनाना है तो हमने बड़े सपनों को देखने की आदत डालनी पड़ेगी और बड़े सपनों को सिद्ध करने के लिए पुरुषार्थ भी करना पड़ेगा।
Their mantras.
अगर इस देश को सोने की चिड़िया बनना है तो इसका हर युवा को सोचना होगा, हर नागरिक को सोचना होगा, मुझे अपने देश को देना क्या है।
Their politics.
आज डिजिटल टॉलरेंस की उतनी ही जरूरत है जितनी डेमोक्रेटिक टॉलरेंस की जरूरत है। और जब तक डेमोक्रेसी में हर पक्ष को नहीं सुना जाएगा, तब तक ये डेमोक्रेसी सर्वाइव नहीं कर सकती।
Their policies.
जब नवीन यंत्रों को हम, जिसको अंग्रेजी में इनोवेशन कहते हैं, नए तरीके से करते हैं।
For the biggest democracy of the world. Debate, discuss and deliberate. Join this unique endeavor. Experts from politics, media and industry. Youth Parliament 2018 witnessed leaders from various political parties, 14 student speakers, 10,000 participants. Be a part of the biggest political dialogue at the Youth Parliament of India 2019. Your stage, your opinion, your voice. For further information, visit www.youthparliamentofindia.co.in.
Dear students, while you are here at Karnavati University, you will have the opportunity to learn new things and acquire new knowledge that will equip for life after university. At the same time, you will make new friends who will become your friends for life, with whom you will share memories of your Karnavati University days for many years to come. So, it's high time to meet the alumni of Karnavati University. So, may I request Poojan, our student, to interact with the students.
Hi everyone, my name is Poojan Dave and I'm currently studying in Australia and I'm pursuing my law from here and I'm about to give my bar examination. Am I audible to everyone? Is it okay?
Yes, yes, you are audible. Yes, we can
Yes.
see you.
Awesome. Okay. Yes, hi. So basically I'm here to share my experience with you all that how I finished my 5 years of journey with UWSL. To be honest, I would like to start with the biggest learning that I have from this 5 years, and that is when I started with my first semester. I still remember that the major problem with me was I was having a stage fear, and yeah, I can very well relate to some of the students might be having that as well. Because in high school we are not uh, exposed to such kind of circumstances where we have to speak in public, we have to speak before the judges. So yeah, that is something that I'm sure you will all inculcate as well. So that is, so I still remember in my first semester, I was asked to speak for 10 minutes. That was a spontaneous topic which I was given, and I stumbled. I stumbled really badly. But from that day until now, I've been constantly working on that thing. I still believe that there is still more room of improvement for me, and that's how it is. It's not come naturally to anyone to speak before the public. I understand that it's really hard process, but I think you will inculcate it naturally. The way you will participate in moot courts, the way you will participate in MUN, youth parliament, debate. So yeah, I would just like to acknowledge everyone just to keep participating in all these things. It's going to be voluntary. It's not going to be something that will be placed upon you strictly, but I think everyone should participate in this because at the end of the day, at the end of the 5 years, what what is going to be making a difference is how you are speaking, how is your communication skills. If you are planning for abroad, that is something also really important because over here you have to speak in English all the time. You have to communicate with people. You have to communicate in colleges. You have to bring your A game every time. So that is something that also will help you in your future endeavors. So, and yeah, to be honest, this thing was really helped by my teachers. They kept pushing me all over the place. They always, even my principal at that time, told me just one thing, that if you want to succeed in this profession, just make sure that you are speaking confidently. You are having that spark whenever you speak, that yes, you can make a difference out of things. So yeah, that is something that I would always like to encourage the new students to just have that into their prospects. To be in addition to that, even the curriculum. Right now, I'm studying law in Australia. I'm about to give my bar examination, but the curriculum of the course was in such a way that I don't have to prepare extra for my examinations over here, because all the things that I'm required here were covered by me. That was contract, thought, CPC, CRPC, everything was there in the curriculum. So that is something that is also really beneficial for you guys for sure. That if you're planning abroad, you won't have to give that extra set of effort in making things, as you will be taught everything that is supposedly required to become a lawyer in any part of the world. So yeah, that is something that is also a plus point. And yeah, talking about it's important to select a country properly as well. If you want to pursue lawyer, if you want to pursue law, you want to become a lawyer, it's important to choose a country which is having common law. So common law is basically where the countries are having the same law. So right now, India comes under the common law, Australia comes under the common law, UK comes under the common law. So if you want to study abroad, if you want to study law particularly, then I would recommend you to just go for the countries which are having the same law. That will reduce your amount of learning that you have to do, that will reduce your money as well. So yeah, those other things will make a great difference for you, Ashok. And at the start of my semester, I was told, many students are discussing that we don't have to worry about marks, because at the end of the day, we all are going to get the same degree, and no one checks how many marks are you having or what sort of things have you done. But to be honest, I would like to say that in contrary to that, I feel marks are really important. I knew from the first day of my college that I want to study masters from abroad. I want to stay there. So that was something in back of my mind, and that's why I pushed myself above the limit. I always make sure that at the end of my examinations, I'm scoring good marks. I'm making sure that I'm well above my average CGPA of 7.5. And at the end of the 10th semester, I tried to achieve that, and I did. What that actually made a difference was when I took my admission in the university which I'm studying right now. I was given $2,000 of scholarship per semester. So eventually, for 4 semesters, I technically saved 4 lakh of rupees just by putting that extra mile. So yeah, at the end of the day, marks did matter. So I would like to encourage every one of you to just make sure that marks are really important. You are giving it. I'm not saying that you have to just keep on doing the same thing, study all day. No. Just make sure that at the end of the 1 month out of the 6 months, you are making a real hard effort. That 1 month will eventually define your future. So just focus upon that as well. And talking about socializing, yeah, you will make some great friends. And that is something that I always tell people, that this 5 years, I'm going to come back. So make best out of this 5 years. Make that 3 to 4 friends who you are sure that are going to stick by your side always. And I have one of my friend who is here only, Dhruv. We stick by our side even if we are in the different countries. That is something that is really commendable. And talking about the staff, even the admin staff, I would like to just give I'd like to say that yes, they have also helped me a lot. I was a bit skeptical about my future in foreign country, and they said that you don't have to worry about. I went there and asked teachers that is it a good thought that I want to pursue my master's from abroad, and they were like, yeah, I think you should go for that, because they knew that the study structure of Indian law and the other countries were different, but they said that what you will learn will be much better than what you are still expecting from here. Because I can say that over here the study structure is completely different. You don't have to give examinations. It's all about the assignments. So all of the things revolves around the practicality. You have to participate in debates. You have to participate in MUN. So if you are lacking behind the confidence of speaking, if you are not having that, that will make a real will make a real difference. So I would like to encourage that just have a word with the faculty members. Just don't afraid to ask anyone that, hey, I'm having this thought. What do you feel about that? They are always here to help you, and they will. So yeah, I'm very blessed in that prospect of my studies that I've made a real difference in my life. And yeah, I feel as a lawyer, networking is really important. That's what I've figured out. And that is the reason why from the first day of my semester, I was doing an internship under a civil lawyer. I did my internship till ninth semester, and that is something that you are not required to do as a student, but uh, it will make a difference. You will get to know the real things that are happening in court, before judges. What are the real structure of law? You will get to know that. So I think I'll reckon every student to just try to find a lawyer and start the internship from the first semester. It's never too late to start, but it will be good for you guys if you start from the first semester. Because at the end of the 5 years, you will be much ahead of your fellow colleagues who haven't done anything yet. So yeah, that is something that would also give you a great insight. So yeah, I feel whoever wants to pursue abroad, it's all great thought, to be honest. You will learn greater new things. It's not that all goody. Yeah, you have to make a real good struggle as well. It's always a struggle, every day struggle. You are away from your parents, away from family, away from friends. But to be honest, it will make a difference in life for a longer run. So have a thought about that as well. And we are always here to help you. So you can get our email from Malaysia. And if there is anything you want to contact, particularly for Australia, you can email me and I'll be always ready to help you guys out. So yeah, have fun, make your 5 years count, and just have a ball, guys. Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you, Poojan, for sharing your experiences. Thank you so much. Now I would like to request Dhruv Patel to interact with the students.
Yes, of course. It's a privilege and honor to be in midst of my juniors. And hello, everyone. For those who doesn't know me, I am Dhruv Patel, as Poojan just introduced me. And I am part of the batch 2014 to 2019. I'm so sorry. So yes, 5 years were great. They were memorable. I just wanted to share you, apart from the curriculum, I just wanted to share you what will you experience over there. So Karnataka University is a lot of things. Basically, you'll have your curriculum included with events. You'll have some moot courts. You'll have some, well, assignments and all that other stuff. But apart from that, you will enjoy is meeting other peoples from other states as well as from the nearby districts and everywhere. So my 5 years, basically, I concentrated on my internships. I also did an internship in the Legislative Assembly that was provided by the admin staff as well. It was a great experience, to be honest, because we were exposed to the procedure as to how the laws are made over there and how everything comes into an effect. So we were we were exposed to the working of the section officers and everyone in the law commission. And at the end of the day, we were required to make a report of whatever we learned, and they would sign it. They would verify that, okay, we did this and that, and they are sure that we have written down the right things. So it was a nice experience, being exposed to such a constructive system where everything is taken into the consideration carefully, because the laws are made, right? It's for the public benefit. It's for public welfare. So that was a great experience as well. And apart from that, we had several moot courts. We had several MUNs. That was a really great experience. I would just advise you all to participate, as Poojan told, because see, I was a bit shy speaking in public and all. And in the beginning, I was the one who would like refrain from participating in anything which is held. But gradually and slowly, you will be made to understand that it's all in all, it's beneficial to you in the future. It's useful to you. So at the end of the day, if you analyze yourself, you will see after participating and being through all that, you will see that there's a difference, of course. And I can say it's fair of me to say that I've become a different student altogether in those 5 years. So coming here, I was really nervous because it's a new country. I'm in Canada now, and I'm studying a foreign law, which I'm not familiar to. But I had my admin staff and everyone at UWSL to help me out with it. They also helped me out with the letter of recommendation. And they also guided me as to which laws you will be having to study over there, which will be different from here. Of course, like the fundamentals of criminal law and civil law are similar because it's a part of the common law structure. But apart from that, like we were made to learn IPR laws. We were made to learn competition laws, which usually out of the 5-year course, you won't be able to learn that. But over here, if you want to pursue an IPR, or personally, my choice was IPR, and I'm looking forward to explore the opportunities. But I'm here right now pursuing media relations for lawyers. Basically, this is where we train lawyers onto making public statements in media. And as far as pitching to the media concerns, you know, we were exposed to certain guest faculties, guest lecturers. Also, we had some guest judges to judge our moot courts. So, you know, answering their queries, questions, and everything, it kind of made us learn how to, you know, how to handle a tricky question, how to think, you know, beyond the limits of what you were thinking at that time, and putting everything into practice. Theoretical knowledge is a different thing. When you have to put that into practical, that's a different thing. So we were made to learn every law books you can count on. We had a library where every law book in the country concerns is available to you. And you know, materials, we never had to worry about those because everything was available. It was just you know, request away. So that was a different experience as well, like mooting and everything. You know, you imagine a typical courtroom drama, but when you are there performing the role of a lawyer, it's a different thing. So all that, you know, added up to my boldness, to my public speaking skills, and altogether it helped me get where I am right now. So given to the condition right now, it's pandemic, everything is closed down. Otherwise, we would be interning with media relations lawyers here. And I'll be resuming that soon after December, I guess, because we have strict rules here. We have to follow quarantine and everything. I'm sure every one of us are struggling right now. That's why we are here virtually. But yes, all of that, and we had several national seminars as well. Be sure to participate in everything because that will all be useful in future. You never know how. But I can tell you that if you're planning to move to a new country, that will all add up to your experience, to your personal development. And I'm sure it will be fruitful and you will enjoy your 5 years altogether. I would just say enjoy with everyone, get to know each other, help each other, make some new friends, and have a great life ahead. Thank you. And I'll be there, for whatever you need help. You know where to reach me. All right. Best of luck, guys.
Thank you, Dhruv. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences and interacting with the students. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Now I would like to request Henil Shah to interact with the students.
Hello, everyone. I would like to first thank Kannada University to just give me an opportunity to interact with you all. So, hi, my name is Henil Shah. I am a graduate of batch 2014-19. Currently, I am working as a practicing advocate in High Court of Gujarat. I've got my admission into London, Queen Mary University, but due to pandemic, I have deferred my entry to January 2021. So yeah, I got 6 more months in High Court. So let me just start by giving you a brief overview of the subjects and curriculum that you will be studying in United World School of Law. So apart from focusing on corporate laws, UWSL also mainly focuses on laws relating to litigation. I'm right now practicing in High Court, so I know that how much it is important to know laws that are related to litigation. Unlike other law schools, UWSL focuses mainly on litigation due to the fact that their approach is very practical. You will have moot courts, MUNs, debates every semester. So make sure that you participate in moot courts. Like moot court is the first step towards litigation. If you don't participate in moot courts, you won't be able to stand in front of any judge, speak in front of any judge, think spontaneously, nothing you won't be doing. So my only advice is to make sure you participate in moot courts, not only intra-college moot courts, but do make sure that you participate in national moot courts. Let me give you my example. In the first year of my law school, I was selected to go to appear in Nirma University for a national moot court. Now, as you know, being a first-year law student, I wasn't very well versed with the constitutional law and other environmental law. So I approached my faculty, respected faculty, and just asked her that, could you please help me in drafting the memorial and explaining me the law in brief. So she literally, after the session, she sat with me, explained me the whole law, explained me how to argue before a national moot court judge. And in this sense, the faculties and the administration staff are very, very useful. Now, secondly, why am I more focusing on moot courts is that that when you participate in moot courts, your orating skills will improve. In law, you need to have a good command on your speech. So by regularly participating in moot courts, you will have a good command on your speech, as well as you can think spontaneously and you can answer the queries of the judge on the spot. Now, apart from the moot court, there are two kinds of laws: procedural .
Okay. I guess there's some connectivity issue. Okay. Thank you, Anil. Thank you so much for enlightening the students and interacting with them. So now I'm glad to introduce Dr. Vasilios, who is a principal lecturer and international manager of Nottingham Law School. As international manager, his role is the implementation of Nottingham Law School's international strategy, including international partnerships, collaborations, and recruitment. Dr. Vasilios leads and teaches the modules, that is United States law and international European, and comparative law. His research and interest lie in the field of legal history, especially in the context of Athenian democracy, and in particular, ancient Greek law and the workings of Athenian courts. Dr. Vasilios is a member of the Center for Rights and Justice. I'm glad to invite Dr. Vasilios to enlighten the students.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning from Nottingham. Good afternoon in Mumbai. It is a great honor and pleasure to be invited to participate in the induction events of the United World School of Law, one of the constituent colleges of Kavarnadi University, and to deliver this speech at the commencement of the new academic year. Your renowned institution is an important partner for Nottingham Trent University, and we as Nottingham Law School seek to further develop this promising collaboration. Being the largest school in the United Kingdom and one of the most successful in terms of academic and professional education, our mission is to prepare the leaders of the future, both in the legal sector and beyond. We focus on a holistic development of our students' personalities, both as servants of the law and justice and as respected members of the wider community. In that, I believe we share the vision of United World School of Law. We both strive to develop outstanding professionals who will contribute to a vibrant and dynamic global community and improve the lives of our fellow citizens, delivering first-class teaching and supporting students at every stage of their university careers is our mission. So let me address the students for the new academic year. Your career as law students is a milestone in your life. A law degree equips you for almost any profession that requires intellectual strength combined with a practical approach to the world. A law degree can give you the skills to be not only a successful lawyer, but also a successful politician, manager, journalist, or diplomat. Studying law offers you the opportunity to develop a range of skills and explore many aspects of human life. It gives you the chance to sharpen your mind, strengthen your understanding, and deepen your experience across the full range of humanities and social sciences. You acquire both breadth of understanding and depth in the areas that interest you most. Studying law requires, but also develops, essential skills that will allow you to thrive, not simply as lawyers, but as human beings. That is intelligence, determination, drive, hard work, and a vivid imagination. It is a fascinating journey, so work hard, play hard, and enjoy every bit of it. Let me share with you two stories that shaped my thinking around studying law from the early years of my career as a law student first and now as an academic. I originally come from Greece, so my stories come from Greek history. I believe most of you have heard of Alexander the Great, so both stories relate to this outstanding personality. The first story goes like that. When Alexander was a child, his father, Philip, had arranged for the best tutors of Greece to offer him the best possible education. One of Alexander's tutors was Aristotle, the great philosopher who had established a special school in a rural area of Greece just for Alexander and his friends. In that school, the batch of students, just like you, could isolate from the temptations and distractions of everyday life and focus on their education. After 3 or 4 months had passed, Philip, Alexander's father, visited Aristotle to check on the progress that the children made. As any caring father would do, Philip started asking Aristotle questions about the curriculum and about the content of the classes and of the children's behavior and performance. "Dear Aristotle," he said, "did you teach the children literature?" "No," Aristotle replied calmly. "Did you teach them mathematics?" "No," he replied again. "Did you teach them geography?" asked Philip. "I'm afraid not," he answered. "Biology? Geometry?" No, my dear Philip, we haven't started yet." "Then how did you spend all this time? What do you teach them?" To which Aristotle replied, "I teach them how to think." The second story, again, comes from Alexander's early years as a royal prince. You can imagine that Alexander must have been a little bit spoiled, thinking that as a prince, he should be receiving special treatment. One day, Alexander was with his tutor of mathematics. Alexander was finding the sessions very difficult to follow, as any mathematics student. The theory was hard. The exercises were even harder. He was complaining all the time. He wasn't concentrating on the tasks and was asking the tutor for breaks. The tutor was keeping calm. He continued with his job, trying to explain things in a simple and clear way. Yet Alexander had already lost his patience with mathematics. He stood up and said to his tutor, "Mathematics is so hard. There must be an easier way to understand it." To which his tutor replied, "My dear child, unfortunately, there is no royal way to mathematics. As with mathematics, I would add, there is no royal way to studying law. At times, it might be tough. It might be incomprehensible. It might be even annoying. But I reassure you, it is rewarding, not only in terms of the prospects of a successful career, bringing you money and prestige. It is rewarding and self-fulfilling as a meaningful education, which makes us better persons. So make the most of this opportunity. Enjoy every second. And we, in Nottingham Law School, will be working closely with your tutors, our excellent colleagues in United World School of Law and Cavarnati University, to offer you the best educational experience and the most interesting and rewarding pathways for your future careers. Thank you very much. Have a successful and memorable academic year.
Thank you so much, sir. We are deeply motivated by your speech, sir. That was really an inspiring speech. We are grateful for the time and effort you took to share your thoughts and experiences. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. Have a good academic year from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to request Henil Shah to interact with the students. Yes.
I'm sorry for cutting out. There were some connectivity issues. So yeah, as I was saying that if you are more focused into litigation, please do participate in all the moot courts. And I was saying that the admin staff faculties are very, very helpful in making you understand what actually moot court is, preparing you for the moot courts, helping you to draft the memos. Even there are mock trials before you appear for national moot courts. So they'll help you in such a way that you would be perfectly ready by the due date. Now, secondly, when you study a law or when a faculty teaches you a law, don't just read the law as it is. Go to your library. Our library is equipped with every available softwares, every available book, and every available law journals that are used by high courts as well as Supreme Courts. Even you have international journals as well. So go to library, do some research by yourself that how this law came into being, what is the learning in Queen Mary University of London. I was surprised to see that most of the modules I have already worked on it in my law school in United World School of Law, though in a domestic manner, on a domestic principle. But this would give me a real kickstart when I would be joining the London University. So our curriculum is designed in such a way that it would give you a kickstart when you go for LLM, irrespective of the modules which you choose there. The curriculum is framed in such a way that it would cover every possible law under the sun. It would make you understand the basic concept. Then it would give you such assignments. You would be able to apply those concepts in those assignments. And finally, there would be moot courts where you would be getting a practical approach towards that concept. So next thing is, please do regular internships. Even if it's not that you have to do internships in just the internship summer breaks or the breaks which are to you. But even if you get time, please do internships, running internships. By running internship, I mean that side by side, initially first attend college, side by side go to chambers of any lawyer or attend courts. The main object behind this is that you would be getting simultaneous experience of both academics as well as practical approach. So you would be able to connect yourself much more than going into internship just in summer breaks. I have started my internship since semester 1. I've done all the semesters internship, all the 10 semesters internship. I've done internships with Solicitor General of India, under Supreme Court judges. You would be amazed to know that all of them have a basic concept. Just know the law, just know the basic law. After you know the basic law, don't worry, you would be learning everything else in the corporate side if you want to go in corporate side, or if you want to go in litigation, you would be learning in litigation. So just know the law. If you don't know the law, you won't be able to do anything either in corporate sector or in litigation sector. So my only advice to you is that apart from getting marks, that's a part of the academics, but don't just study to get marks. Please study to just understand the concept and the object behind the concept. Once you know the concept, you would be able to answer any question, answer any query of the judges, and research independently. So with this, I would just like to conclude by just saying one thing, that you are a law student for just 5 years, but you are a student of law for the rest of your life. You won't be stop learning law for the entire, you will be learning law for the entire life. But you are just a law student for just 5 years. So apart from academics, enjoy your law school, enjoy your law days, enjoy your college. These days won't ever come back. Once you step into professional field, the world is entirely different. And as my friend said, we are all available for you. Just contact your faculty members to reach out to me. I'll be in London for next 1.5 years, but I'll be always available to you. Just drop me a mail. And if you have any queries regarding any law, any admission procedure, any XYZ, please do let me know. I'll be always available to you. Thank you so much, Kannada University, and stay safe, guys.
All right. Thank you, Professor Nishtha. Thank you.
Pleasure, sir.
So I think we have come to that point of the day where we'll have to break in. We've done with inductions for 3 days. And I think hereafter you'll get a detailed schedule from us. We'll get back to you on your classes and your timetable. I think that sometime later this week, you'll be hearing from us and we'll tell you what all programs you have and what are your timings for the day. So having said that, if you have any queries in between, I think now you fairly got an idea as to how law school is going to function in next 5 years. We try to give you a bird's eye view. I understand this is not the complete setup that we have. We have many more activities, and I think time is the essence, and we could only give you this in this short time. But having said this, we once again welcome you all to Karnavati University and World School of Law. I look forward to having loads of intellectual interactions with you. And I think we'll have a power pack sections starting most likely from Monday. Having said that, we also at the same time take this opportunity to thank my colleagues and students who've been working with us to make this induction happen. And you all would appreciate and at the same time be with us on this to thank all my colleagues and staff and students. So I would welcome Dr. Malay Patel to give away his vote of thanks. And so.
Well, in this induction program, a lot of stakeholders has helped us in drafting this and actually conducting this induction program. Okay, to state few names would be, first and foremost, I would also like to thank Karnavati University Student Governing Council, especially Sagar Modi, Head of Academics, General Secretary, KU SGS, Parmesh Upadhyay, Head of Sports, General Secretary, KU SGS. Then we have Shreya Maheshwari, KU GSC member. Then we have Riya Chelani, that is also a member of KU GSC, that is Karnavati University Student Council. We have Om Patel, an active member of KU GSC. Our special thanks also goes to a batch 2019-24 Aditi, Harshal, Vedehi, Anushka, and other batchmates who supported the senior council. Apart from that, my special thanks also lies to all the faculty members. First of all, Nishtha Agrawal, who did a wonderful job in hosting this ceremony. My thanks to Professor Shrut Brahmbhatt, who also spared a time with us. My thanks to Ayaz Ahmed. My thanks to Pranay Prakash, who spared some time with us. Apart from that, the other faculty members who contributed their time which is Mr. Nitesh Nanavati, Debarti Haldar, Mr. Nityanand Jha. Then we had Professor Mrinal Raste, obviously Professor Uma Mahesh, who actually conducted this and actually managed this show with you. Then we had some of our administrator, that is Mr. Markan Trivedi. We had actually administrator Miral, who spared their time with us and actually helped us in conducting this induction program. So it is all the team effort which has gone through in conducting this program. I hope you have benefited a lot with this formal induction program, and you would be getting more and more such benefits in the future as well. Thank you very much. And apart from that, all the students who attended this workshop and patiently listened to us, our thanks goes to them as well. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Thank you.
And also a small announcement to make. You will have afternoon sessions as planned. So now we'll break for lunch, and then you'll all meet back again at what time? After an hour. So we'll meet at 2. And we'll have the session with your seniors. So great interacting with you all. I hope you all had a good day. Enjoy. Get back to us soon. Stay safe. All the best. See you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.